the break is after Hazel. That's great, because Hazel is our Āniwaniwa Rainbow Coordinator here at Wintec. We love her to goodness. We're glad to have her with us. And because the topics that we presented in terms of Whare Tapa Wha was our underpinning guide for concepts for this theme this year, I opened it up to our kaimahi here at Wintec and said, would love to have you participating. And Hazel was the first one to put her hand up and has agreed to come and give us a short presentation. Her presentation is on using Te Whare Tapa Wha for wellness and compassion. So thanks so much, Hazel. And I'm going to hand it over to you. You've got access to sharing your PowerPoint.
Kia ora, Tanya. Kia ora koutou. Ko Hazel Whitley tōku ingoa. I'm, as Tanya said, the Āniwaniwa Rainbow Coordinator here at Wintec. It's a role that has existed for 3 years now, and when this role came into being, it was quite new. So I'll talk a little bit about that as I share my screen. And hopefully this will work. Does that look okay to everyone? Okay, good. So as you can see at the bottom there, we have a group called the Āniwaniwa Alliance here at Wintec. It's a network of staff and students that was formed to ensure the safety and the well-being of our rainbow whānau here at Wintec. And yeah, it was through the work of that group that this role was formed, which is a part-time role within the Student Services Te Kete Manaaki here at Wintec. So what we're going to do in this 40-minute workshop is work through, I'm sure everybody knows Te Whare Tapa Wha and the structure, but we'll very briefly go over that. Have a think about it in terms of your own life and your own well-being. We'll talk about some of the barriers to wellness that our rainbow whānau can face, and hopefully think about some small changes that we can do to support their wellness as well as our own. And please, if you have questions at any point, I'm very happy for you to ask them as we go. Anthea will be monitoring the chat. Thank you, Anthea. And she can forward those on, or please just unmute yourselves and ask questions at any time. This is a workshop rather than a presentation, so please just jump in if you have any queries. I never know like how much knowledge to assume already in terms of Te Whare Tapa Wha. I'm assuming that you have some background knowledge of that framework already in terms of Rainbow LGBTQIA+. Some people will have more or less than others, so please, if there's anything that's confusing you, probably it'll confuse someone else as well, so please just jump in. So on to our framework, and as I'm sure many of you will know, Te Whare Tapa Wha was developed by Māori health advocate Sir Mason Drury in 1984. There's been a lot of other frameworks developed since then, things like Te Wheke, which even Sir Mason Drury said are perhaps more useful in terms of looking at the many aspects that make up wellness. But this is one that has really kind of landed with a lot of people, and I think it's still a useful framework to look at. And it shows wellness as a whare of 4 sides, with 4 aspects of health being interrelated. Hinengaro, mental and emotional, whānau, family and social, tinana, physical, wairua, spiritual, with, of course, underpinning all that, whenua is the foundation that it all rests upon. And of course, that wellness is going to look different for every individual. That spiritual aspect, for example, is going to be whatever larger force or larger existence that you connect with to feel well. That might be your church, that might be your marae, that might be the forest, the ngahere, the ocean, whatever larger existence makes you feel connected. Tinana, the physical side, can be things like how you feel in your body, how your physical health is from day to day, how you care for your body. whānau being your social and family connections, the people that you care about, the people you share your life with. Hinengaro meaning mind, heart, your conscience, your thoughts and feelings, all of those things, which are split apart in some of those other frameworks. They divide up the cognitive side and the emotional side. But in this framework, they're joined together. And of course, whenua, underneath all that, your feeling of belonging to a place, somewhere that you can stand and be safe and be comfortable in yourself. All good so far? All right, I see you nodding. I'll carry on. So in a perfect world, of course, we would be fulfilled and balanced in every aspect and just paragons of wellness. But every day there are challenges and barriers and things that affect our wellness. So just take a moment, think about your own life. What parts of your whare are strongest or weakest at the moment? What are your barriers to wellness? Don't need to call anything out unless you really, really want to, but just have a think about it. And also consider how challenges in one area can affect other areas as well. So, for example, when I'm feeling kind of emotionally low, I feel like maybe my friends don't want to see me. And so I don't go out and socialize. And then I feel lonely. And so it affects my relationships and my connections as well. If I'm feeling stuffed up and tired because I have a cold, then I'm not thinking well. And then suddenly work is way more difficult because I can't do those mental challenges when I'm not physically well. Or say there's mental challenges at work, everything's really challenging mind-wise, then I'm stressed out and I'm not eating well or I'm not moving well. And then I have physical effects. Maybe my skin breaks out, or I have digestive upsets, or I just, feel stiff all the time because I'm hunched over my computer all day. I'm sure you can relate. So thinking about all those different things, what small steps can you take to strengthen your whare? There'll always be things, excuse me, drinking water, for example. There'll always be things we can't control. But what things can we do to improve our overall wellness? And also, it's good to remember that, sorry, my voice is going completely. It's good to remember that you're not floating in a void, that you're part of the world, and that wellness for you might mean connecting with the world around you. How do you experience interconnectedness with that wider world? So this feels like, maybe we'll just look at one more slide and then I'll give you a chance to chat those things over. So thinking about all those questions, how can you improve your own wellness? Thinking about the fact that we're not just talking about enduring, getting through from day to day. We're talking about recharging. Resilience is not just getting through it, but also recharging and feeling the best we possibly can. What small things could you do to work toward wellness? Think about those 5 different aspects if you include whenua, and maybe come up with a couple of goals for yourself. I'll put you in breakout rooms, but you don't need to share anything you come up with. Maybe just talk about your ideas for generally what you think can help with your wellness. All right, welcome back, everybody. Is that everyone?
I think that is.
Okay. So any volunteers to share some of the things you came up with? Start with someone from breakout room 1.
I nominate Luan.
Love it.
Yes, we want some sharing around, first of all, the presence of AI in our mahi, and for most of us, there is an expectation that we need to be more productive with AI tools, and that sometimes cause a lot of stress because we need to do. We think that we need to do more, and sometimes for me, for example, I myself determine a huge workload for me every day with the assistance of AI, and that affects my health as well. And yes, some other members saying about one of the way that we can reduce the stress and improve the well-being is to share, talk to colleagues, talk to different people around maybe the issue that we are having, or sometimes just have a talk. And yes, I've read some journal article from applied management when I was helping students from that program, and it's about chit chat at workplace. And it was very surprising to me that at first I thought that kind of chit chats during work, maybe at the beginning of the day, during the day, or after the day, will negatively impact our work and the productivity. But no, they said that the study said that it's improve our efficiency, our productivity, and especially in terms of well-being and emotional aspect of work. So, and also relational aspect as well. So it's a very good one.
Thanks, Luan. Anyone from group 2 or 3 want to share anything?
I'll mention a few things that we talked about in group 2. So because you were drinking water during your session, we started off talking about drinking water, and apparently a lot of people in the world are just permanently dehydrated. So we were saying about the importance of doing that. And I liked your idea, Hazel, when you popped into the room, you said you combine the water thing with moving, because when your cup is empty, you go off and get some more water. So you combine exercise with that. So other people were also talking about the importance of getting more exercise and moving around, but also spending time face to face with colleagues rather than just connecting on Teams, or we could be known to just email somebody and they're sitting in the same room actually, which seems crazy. But I guess if you've got multiple people in the room, you don't always want to start a verbal chat and disturb other people, but it does seem a bit weird being in the same room like
Sometimes we don't take those 10 steps to the other person's desk.
Yeah. And then also somebody else said about if you are living in a different country to your whānau, that can be quite difficult with that social isolation. But having a Zoom chat or a WeChat or something with family members can be quite helpful to keep in touch as well. So remembering to do that. So I think they're the main things, unless anyone else in room 2 wanted to say anything.
I wanted to acknowledge Vanessa, her sharing, because I jumped in when she finished and said, yeah, Quentin, because we have just a few minutes left. I'm sorry, Vanessa, that I did not behave well. That's all. Thank you. I directly message you, but I don't think you will read it. So I thought I'd say it.
Let me see if I've got my chat on.
Kia ora.
No problem.
Thanks, everyone. Anyone from Group 3 want to share anything?
I think you were Group 3. Oh, sorry, go ahead.
We also talked about exercises. We talked about the advantages and perils of smartwatches and with that exercise. And something that we finished off with was talking about gratitude. So a few of us in our room kept gratitude journals and found that really beneficial.
Yeah, I found that helpful too. I don't do it consistently, but the times that I have, I found it really good. I think I've listed a few other things that you may or may not have mentioned. See if anything looks familiar. Some of those things you might do. Some of the things I put in my notes that either I do or people have suggested. Spiritual things can just be things like mindfulness, things that you do to fill your cup, or even just spatial awareness to connect with the elements. Physical things can be things like breathing. Breathing is super helpful. And any kind of self-care practices that you do to reconnect with your body. Family things might be those mental emotional things as well, like forgiving people or making connections after some time apart. One thing that's useful for mental and emotional things is that brain dump, getting things out on the page or getting things out to a close friend. And one that some of my friends struggle with is self-talk, being kind to yourself in your self-talk rather than ragging on yourself. So on to the second part of this talk, and we maybe need to move slightly more quickly. We're talking about the kinds of barriers to wellness that our rainbow whānau might face. So very quickly, I thought we'd better review who is in that whānau. Who are we talking about when we talk about LGBTQIA+. So anyone recognize those first couple of flags? Throw it in the chat if you think, well, actually, if you know what any of those flags are, throw it in the chat. And now I'm realizing I can't see the chat. There it is.
Number 3 is rainbow.
Yes, general rainbow flag, yep. Who does it represent? Well, thanks for sharing those notes in the chat. That's great.
So I think it represents all the letters there on the slide, is it? Or is it LGBTQIA+?
Yep. All right. Well, the first two at the top represent one of our T's and one letter that's actually not on there, because our first two are our gender diverse folk. So T for transgender, also T for takatapui, because that can be gender diverse people, and the yellow, white, purple, black flag there is non-binary. So this is any people where our innate sense of gender, our innate sense about who we are, doesn't line up with whatever gender they were assigned at birth. For some people, they see themselves as, for example, myself, I see myself as a female person. That's how I was assigned at birth. That means I'm cisgender. Those who have a diverse gender identity, that might mean that those things don't line up. It might still fit within binary classification. So might still see themselves as male or female, man or woman, but it might not. And that's what the term non-binary means. Neither of those labels really fits the person. So they use a term like non-binary. Right. Okay, control.
I have a question for you, Hazel. What is cis? Can you, what's that short for? Can you explain that?
Oh, you're testing my Latin now. Cis, I think, means same.
Yeah.
So trans means across. So transgender means someone who is moving across from one gender to another, or from one identity to a different identity. Whereas cis means on the same side, I think. So you're remaining with the identity that you were assigned at birth.
Thank you. I got.
If anyone knows Latin more than me, please correct me.
Yeah, Quentin has wrote in the chat. Thank you. I know it means that, but I just want to know where the cis come from. But now,
no worries. The next category is, does anyone know that beautiful purple and yellow flag? That's the I. People with variations in sex characteristics, or intersex folks. So this is the biological part. Some people like to say that gender and sex are the same thing. It's simple, black and white, male or female. It's based on physical traits. Well, the intersex community would beg to differ with that one. As biologists will tell you, nature is full of surprises, and biological sex is made up of groups of traits. Most males of the species have one set of traits. Most females of the species have another set of traits, but things are not always that simple, and there can be variations. I'm just trying to line up my screen so that I can see the chat at the same time. But that's all right. Andrea will tell me if there's things in chat.
Yeah, no questions yet, Hazel.
Okay. So that those traits include things like hormone levels, your genes, X or Y or X, all those combinations. Hair patterns, all those different things. And depending on how you measure it, somewhere between 1% and 3% of the human population have some sex characteristics that fall outside those groupings. And they might not even know that if those differences are quite subtle, but it might be something that's obvious at birth. And in history, a lot of those things, at least in our Western European cultures, have been concealed or seen as quite shameful. But that's it's changing these days, and it has obviously been different in different cultures. And in some other cultures, intersex folk were recognised as part of a third gender group, and that was seen as something that was completely normal. So that circle on the intersex flag represents the fact that intersex people are whole, are perfect just as they are. They don't need to be changed or altered. Hopefully that all makes sense so far. We've talked about gender. We've talked about biological sex. The last group is less about the self, more about your relationship. So that rainbow flag is often used for, is often just used for a sort of umbrella, all of the rainbow community, but it can also be used for sexually diverse folk, lesbian, gay, bisexual, asexual. So that's our LGB and also the A. Anyone who's not heterosexual fits into this group. Could be people who are same-sex attracted or people who don't experience sexual attraction at all. That's asexual. I can tell you what the A stands for. A stands for not. There's lots of different nuances and different terms that people have coined over the years to talk about their relationship with relationships, but those are just a few of them. And of course, all of these terms change over time. There's different terms through history. There's different terms in other cultures. We should also include terms like MVP FAF, which is stands for some of our Pacifica identities. Those were often Colonization attempted to erase a lot of those identities, much like Takatapui here in Aotearoa. So MVP FAF, for example, is the M is Mahu of Hawaii. Those are not as simple as some of those terms that we use in English. They often had cultural or societal roles. The Mahu were seen as teachers and caregivers. So it's not as simple as, oh, that means gay or that means transgender. It doesn't hold that same depth of meaning.
Mm-hmm.
And anyone know the flag at the bottom? That A shape is a bit of a clue. It's A for ally, so that's the ally flag. There's plenty of people who are concerned about homophobia and transphobia because of their connections to the rainbow community. Maybe they're worried about friends, family members, partners, children. There's a saying in my tabletop gaming nerdy circles, when one of us is attacked, we all roll for initiative. As Maya Angelou said, the truth is no one of us can be free until everybody is free. And so allies are about doing that work for collective freedom. As part of that, we can be aware of some of the barriers that our fellow humans face, and so we can work together to do better and to be better. So I can see that we're really pushing for time. So what extra barriers to wellness might LGBTQIA people face? Thinking about the Wairua side of things. Feel free to throw your ideas in the chat as we go, but I'll just carry on since we have 6 minutes left. There might be rejection from their faith group. Thanks, Andrea. Many churches still have homophobic and transphobic ideas. They may be insistent on binary gender norms. A lot of those things are changing, which is, yeah, systemic barrier caused all sides of the whare to shake. So true. Colonization brought in spiritual practices that were not very diverse and not very accepting, and so many things that were more diverse and accepting have been repressed and replaced with less accepting beliefs. People may struggle to be at peace within themselves because of their worries about their identity. I see, yeah, cultural, social, yeah. So thinking about the body, tinana, there might be dysphoria. That's that feeling that your body doesn't fit with how you see yourself. So it's a feeling of discomfort within your body because it doesn't fit the way that you view yourself. There might also be problems with healthcare access. There's been a lot of studies done showing that gender diverse and sexuality diverse folk are more likely to not seek healthcare medical support, or if they do go to seek it, they might face medical discrimination. So, yeah, there's a lot of things that can be an issue there as well. Gender affirming healthcare. Sorry?
I was just going to say, Hazel, we've in the chat, we've got ideas that back that up. So discrimination and exclusion in education, workplace, healthcare, policy and advocacy, as well as social invisibility and isolation, and physical things, public or social spaces such as bathrooms that don't fit. So now there's gender neutral bathrooms.
Yeah, so we can really see how those different sides of the whare overlap, where, you know, because of someone's concern about the physical aspects, they might be facing a lot of mental and emotional distress as well. Yeah, gender affirming healthcare can be a long and expensive process to get. Some kinds of healthcare are not widely available. As we've seen in the news just recently, access to puberty blockers for young trans folk is being paused, and so that's going to cause a lot of stress for families and for people. Carrying on with the whānau aspect, it might be things like being in the closet, or not being accepted by family, or difficulty in finding relationships, especially for people who are not in big cities, who maybe don't have anyone that they know of that shares their identity around them. It can be really isolating. Those small rural communities are often a challenge. And in the Hinengaro side, struggling with identity, there's a big overlap between the rainbow communities and neurodivergence, so that can be something that people struggle with as well, finding, you know, ways that to fit in a society that is not built for neurodivergence. They may worry about other aspects of their lives being affected by their identity. And then our mental health stats among rainbow folk are pretty awful, generally, because of discrimination, bullying, isolation, all those things. So, in our last 2 minutes, what small changes can we make to support those around us? And because we've only got 1 minute left, let's not go into breakout rooms. Let's share those immediately, either in the chat or just unmute yourselves to share your ideas. Absolutely, educate ourselves. And thank you for sharing those links and ideas in the chat as well. Yes, gender neutral language can be really helpful.
And also accept who they identify with themselves. So take who they are. They identify themselves.
Yeah. And I think one way to show that you will accept people, because often people don't know that they're safe to share their identity with you, is making your support visible. And that might be something like having your pronouns on your name badge, or having some little rainbow something around your office or on your fly an ally flag. Exactly.
Do it now. I'm going to do it now.
Because people think that it's about, you know, they have these phrases like virtue signaling and all that, and it's not about showing how great I am. It's about showing people that they can be themselves and that they can, you know, share those things with me that they might be scared to do. So make your support visible. Be aware of the challenges that people face. As someone said, educate yourself. Don't make any assumptions. Someone may look very feminine, but maybe that's not how they identify. So maybe give them a chance to share. Use inclusive language, exactly. Use names and pronouns that people have shared with you. And if you can, include rainbow content, examples, or make sure that if you're providing resources that they're inclusive. So I'm sorry that we've rushed a little coming to the end of that there, but hopefully that's something that you can continue thinking on as you go about your day. Think about the things that you do already. Maybe share those over morning tea, and what could you do in the future? So as our first half talked about, be kind to yourself, take care of your own wellness, and as our second half talked about, be kind to others. I'll thank you for your attention today, and please enjoy the rest of your day and enjoy your morning tea break.